Ok, vamos a estar en vivo ahora. 1, 2, 3, les aviso, creo que estamos en vivo. Bienvenidos, welcome everyone who is here. Yes, we just started our last webinar of the season, Big Four. We will be here answering your questions as usual. We are about to finish with our application season of Big Four, and that's our programs Build, Ignite, and Growth that we'll be talking about very soon. With me is Cristobal from the operations team and Sergio from acceleration. And they will be answering more technical questions because we know that you have already started filling your applications. So we have some visa related content and financing and all that money stuff. And also we will be talking about what's going to happen once you get into the program. Okay, so I will leave you with Sergio and Cristobal right now. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Amparo, for the presentation, for the introduction. Let me share my screen. So just share a screen here. Tell me if you see my screen right now.
We do.
Okay, perfect. So let's start. First of all, thank you very much for attending this webinar in order to deep some questions and try to answer some doubts that you have during the application process of Startup Chile. So as you know, we are currently in the application process for applying to Big Cuatro. And what we are looking for, just for make and summarize about our what we are looking for and what is the aim of this application process is to support startups, especially and specifically tech-based startups that use the technology for provide a new value proposition that a startup that have and provide an innovation to the customer or to the final user that can have components of scalability that can grow in an exponential way to different countries, to reach different markets, and also to make impact here in Chile in the economic matrix. In Chile, as you know, Startup Chile is a public policy, and the aim of this public policy is also to use these innovative ventures to improve the economic matrix of Chile. So we are looking for a startup that wants to and could add value to the economic metric of Chile and also in Latin America. So we have 3 different programs that are currently open right now if you want to apply in an application process that called Think Big. And these are the capital letters of our programs. First of all, we have the Build program that is an acceleration, a pre-acceleration program for a startup that have less than 1 year of commercial development. We also have the Ignite program that is for a startup that have less than 3 years of commercial development, and also that have at least an MVP or a prototype in order to start to testing, in order to start to test their solution in the market. And to make some traction and commercial validation. And finally, we have the growth program that is for a startup that right now have an important or relevant portfolio of clients, for example, and wants to reach other markets in Latin America, other countries, and also that wants to open relevant investment rounds, for example, from pre-seed to also Series A or B, for example. And if we are looking in the lifetime of, generally speaking, of any startup, from the idea to to be a unicorn or to be evaluated in $1 billion, our programs are divided like this. First of all, we have in the early stage, from the idea to the prototype, our build program that supports between around of up to 40 to 50 startups each cohort. Also, we have next from the prototype to when the startup wants to reach the product market fit, for example, the Ignite program, we have the Ignite program, and we support over there up to 30 to 40 startups. And also finally we have the growth programs that we and over there we want to support up to 15 to 18 startup each generation. So briefly, our offer is not also to provide these funds, these acceleration programs, and equity-free funding is also based on different kind of resources that you can reach if you want to, and if you are selected in Startup Chile. First of all, we have a free co-work space here in the downtown of Santiago, also exclusive perk deals with different partners, with different companies that wants to offer different benefits to our startups, an acceleration program that is composed of different sessions with mentors, between peers, for example, different a curriculum of different talks, workshops, initiatives with office for having office hours with experts, for example, and other stakeholders, and also pitch training session in order to improve your pitch after the program. A wide range of connection also with corporate, VCs, angels investors, university, governments, mentors, and so on. We offer also, and we going to support you in the process to arrive to Chile in order to also to get a 1-year work visa, to have an ID here in Chile, and also to have the opportunity to open a bank account here in Chile in order to receive this fund, and also to access a huge, one of the largest communities of startups in the world, I would say, composed of more than 2,000 startups and more than 5,000, 2,000 startups and more than 5,000 entrepreneurs that are in different places and countries. So just in a nutshell, we are going to close this application process in 5 days. So bear in mind that we are going to close the application, this application process in the 3rd of May. And we are going to have announce the result in the 5th of July. And also the program and the acceleration program, so Build, Ignite, and Growth will start in August. To a date to be confirmed as soon as we are going to have more security of when we are going to start the program. But probably we're going to start the program at the end of August, so we are going to announce that date as soon as possible. So apply as soon as possible. Use this webinar in order to clarify different kind of doubts, questions, and so on. And right now, I give you the word to Cristobal, who's going to give you some insight about the acceleration program.
Great, thank you, Sergio, for your presentation, and welcome everyone. Hello again, my name is Cristobal Madrid, and I'm from the operations team. And I'm going to tell you about what happens after being selected here in Startup Chile. Please, Sergio. Great. Okay, guys, so first of all, we are going to communicate the results of this process, okay? And those results are going to be published on July 5th, okay? You are going to receive an email, and through that email, you must confirm your participation. And after that, you're going to start the landing process here. And what happened next? With the results, you will need to have a visa, a passport, valid for 18 months, okay, from the beginning of the program, of the acceleration program, okay? And you have 6 weeks to send the visa application, okay? This is very, very important, okay? During this period, during July and August, we are going to have informative workshops, and also we are going to have meetings to introduce you to your business developer and your financial executive. After all this process, then in August, we are going to have the welcome activities and orientation activities. As Sergio said, we are going to confirm the exact day and date when we are going to start this as soon as possible, okay? Then you're going to receive a Chilean ID and open a bank account here in Chile. And this is very, very important to receive the funds in the future. And for sure, you will need to sign a contract with the Startup Chile, with Corfo, to receive the funds, to receive the money. And here we have some pictures, some images related to the initial activities, to the welcome activities, in the icebreaker, in the orientation week. Okay, so it's very important to have you here in that period, in that date, so we can start obviously the soft landing process here in Startup Chile also, and Chile for sure. And then we are going to start after August the acceleration program officially, okay? And in this period, you will have to start talking about your startup itself. You will have to set your goals and prepare your budget. We are going to start the tracking activities and mentoring sessions for sure. And take advantage also about all the opportunities that we have here in Startup Chile. All the workshops, all the webinars, all the perks, networks. Please, guys, it's very, very important to use all these resources that through Startup Chile you can use, okay? And for sure, after this, we have the pitch day and the demo day. And what is this? Okay, here we are going to check your progress, okay? Your progress, your main progress. This is very, very important because in the pitch day, we are going to select those startups that were like the best during their batch. And potentially you are going to be part of demo day, okay? We are going to make the final assessments and selection of the extensions for the build and ignite programs, okay? And for sure, during this last period of the project, you will have to finish your expenses declaration, okay? As you know, all the programs have different durations. Build is 4 months, ignite 6 months, and growth 12 months, okay? This is very, very important to keep in mind, okay? That all the different lines from a Startup Chile have different periods to develop their progress. And some friendly reminders at the end of this presentation, okay? For sure, always read the terms and conditions, guys. This is very, very important. This document is not maybe easy to understand. So guys, if you have questions, here we are to help you. Secondly, complete the application form with time, okay? Not at the last day of the application process. Please make everything with time so you can complete all the information that we are going to require. And the third point is very, very important. For entrepreneurs, update your passport. And this is very, very important to receive the funds in case that you are selected in the future, okay? So these 3 friendly reminders are very, very important for all the Startup Chile process. And that's it, guys. Amparo.
Thank you so much, Cristobal. That was very clear. And Sergio. So everyone, we are on YouTube live and we are already reading your questions. We're going to start right now. So please leave every question or any question you have right here in our chat box. This is the last chance you have to have people answer it so directly. Okay, so let's start. So someone says, can you explain the difference between questions 7 and 8? I don't know what those questions are. I don't know if you know, but whatever. Oh, question 7 is, under startup description, have you already raised any capital for this startup? Does this include self-funding?
No, I mean, in that part, we are going to consider, of course, what kind of capital have you been raised since you are applying to Startup Chile? For example, if you open an investment round, for example, if you are receiving, for example, if you already received, for example, funds from angels investors, it's not necessary what kind of invest of your own resource have you been put to the startup. If I try to explain, it's just when you are if you are already raised capital from other stakeholders, from investors, VC funds, and so on.
Perfect. Thank you. In our description of the problem, should our proposal focus on where we are currently based or in Chile? So for people who are not here.
I can answer that question again. First of all, the aim of the program is looking for a startup that wants to solve global problems. You can start to explain that your local problem, of course. Sometimes we start in any kind of where we can start any kind of business from a local or a problem from the local communities. However, you need to expand that problems in a global perspective. So you need to explain why this is a global problem and why people are suffering, for example, this problem in different parts of the world, in Latin America, for example. So don't avoid to or try to avoid any kind of local focus only. Try to use the local perspective, and then you can pass to the global to the global perspective also throughout the application form.
Perfect. Layman says, can you elaborate on the co-financing requirements for each program? Maybe Chris?
Yes, for sure. For build program, we co-finance 10 Chilean million pesos. For Ignite is 25 million Chilean pesos, and for growth, 75 Chilean million pesos. Okay. And it is very important to keep in mind that we are going to ask for a contribution from your side, okay, of the 10% in the case of the build program. For Ignite is 10 or 20%, depending on who is the team leader, if it is a woman or man, okay? It's a gender difference that we made there. And for growth is the 50% of your contribution, okay? So it's important to keep in mind that. And we are talking about the money that I have told you is the money that Corfo is going to contribute with the program. So the total budget is a little bit more than that. So for example, in the case of growth, it's like 150 and 150 million pesos that you have to present in the financial meeting, and the 50% is going to be your contribution, and the other 50% is going to be the money from Corfo, okay? For the other programs, it's exactly the same, but making the maths with the 20 and 10%.
Perfect. Iman says, please explain the benefits of female founder factor at Startup Chile. Go ahead.
I mean, that is an interesting question, of course. I mean, first of all, the female founder factor is a transversal initiative from that is established across the programs that we have. And this provide different kind of resources and initiative in order, first of all, to create an environment for female entrepreneurs. And also it's based on different kind of activities and resources that we give to the female and different opportunities that we give to the female female funders. For example, in the different programs, we offer a specific benefits to a startup led by female funders. For example, at the build program, we have we propose from Startup Chile to support at least 50% of each cohort, a startup led by female funders. In the Ignite program, they co-finance the resources that you need to provide to the whole budget of your startup or to your of the program is 10%, is only 10% instead of 20% if the team leader is women in this case. And finally, in the growth program is I think that is different also the amount of resources that we provide also, that is 60% if the team leader is a female founder, and also if 50% is if it's the other case. And also the aim of the female funder is create a huge community of female, not only for female funder, also to create female leaders. And that means that we are going to have mentors, female mentors, for example, investors that wants to invest, for example, in startup led by female founders. And also we propose different kind of activities in order to expose to the ecosystem this entrepreneurship. For example, the media press will be at least our media press and our publication in social media, at least the 50% is going to be based on exposed female founders.
That's right. They ask, once we create a profile and start the application process, are we able to save and return at a later date? Yes, you can. Also, take your time. The application process, it takes time. So yes, of course, you can save it and come back later.
Yes,
that also reminds me. What was that?
No, yes. I forgot something in regards to the female founder factor. This is
Go ahead.
This is just for because it's something that someone asked me before, and this is not a program that you can apply to Startup Chile. I don't know, in another application process. If you are selected in the program, you will have this benefit in any programs in this generation, for example, in the Build, Ignite, or Growth program. So it's like a whole package of benefits that we offer to the female founder that are part from our generation. And the other question is in regards to if you can return save or back to your application form. Yes, you can. And if you have an issue with any technical issue, there is a chat that the platform Charlie offered for the applicants in order to make some technical to show and to ask for any doubts in the technical part. You can also save your application form, and then you can come back to start to rewriting if you want or something like that.
Yes,
Perfect.
sorry.
Yes.
Just to confirm what Sergio said, yeah, in growth, the difference of the gender is the 60% of the contribution from Corfo and the 50% for 60% for female and 50% for male. That's it. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. Aisen, I think I'm saying your name right. I'm sorry if I'm not. Says we feel 90 seconds is short to answer the 5 questions in the intro video. Is it possible for you to share some intro videos of past selected startups? Ooh, I don't know if we can do that, but
more than that, I think that Google right now, and if you put, for example, a 1-minute pitch video for Startup Chile, for example, you will find a right example. I mean, don't take too seriously, I would say, this pitch. I mean, just explain briefly the problem, the solution, and your main traction and your team. That is enough. The rest is going to be you can explain throughout the application form the whole details of your startup. So because we're not going to look the pitch video if this surpasses the time. So please be aware of that, and also bear in mind that it's important that you can take advantage of this opportunity to explain briefly your startup, and throughout the application form you can delve in further details, different kind of topics.
Yes, I always say this, but the video is so important because we see so many of them. So like have in mind that we see so many applications that you should be catchy. You should have a catchy message. In 90 seconds, yeah, you should be able to explain your startup in 90 seconds, okay? So Manuel says about the reference. I wanted to use one of my clients as a reference, but he doesn't have a LinkedIn. Is this a problem? Should I use other reference? I'm applying to Build.
I would say that it's not a really problem, but if you want, you can put in the in the referral letters, in the sign, for example, an email contact of your client. If we want to, for example, request for further information, if we want to get in contact with your reference. So it doesn't matter. First of all, the LinkedIn is just for know who is that person that is making your reference to you. And of course, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's the president of Chile or any country. It doesn't matter if the CEO of Amazon, for example. Of course, if it's CEO of Amazon, could be slightly different. However, it's important that yes, I don't know. I don't know. There's some different opinions, but in a nutshell, the reference must verify your track record as an entrepreneur or to the startup. That's it.
Manuel, you can also add a link instead of a LinkedIn, a link to their curriculum or something that makes it or her important. I don't know. Yeah. So Med Mediator says, hi, we have a venture based not in Chile. Shall we apply as a natural person? In this case, co-founders equal teammates. Am I right? So if they're not from Chile, should they apply as natural?
Yeah, if they have an international venture, in this case, like an international company, yeah, they must apply it as an individual, as a natural person. Okay, that's very, very important. In the future, you can like include in the process here of tracking through Corfo a company, but that company must be a Chilean company. Okay. And must be an independent company. That's very, very important. But if you have a foreign venture, a foreign company, and you want to apply it as that, you are not going to want to be able to do it. Okay, that's very important to keep in mind.
Perfect. And yes, your co-founders are your teammates. So in the form, you know, so you have to choose your team leader, and then it's your teammates.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's very important to select the team leader and then your co-founders, and also remember that you have to select which of your co-founders are going to come with you to Chile. Okay, and those like official team members are going to be included in your contract here with the Startup Chile. Okay, that's very, very important. It's your decision. You can include them or not. Okay, but for those that are included as team members are going to be part of the contract here in Startup Chile, you can cover like all the plane tickets and all the cost of the coming to Chile. Okay, for those that are out of this selection, that can be 2 or 3 as maximum, depending on the fund. Those are going to be just as co-founders, but out of the program. Okay.
Perfect. In the traction part, this is more for Sergio maybe. Are user customer requests, so maybe features or services that they have requested, considered superior to simple user interviews? This is kind of a validation question.
Oh, that is a really specific question.
I know, right?
Yes, I mean, first of all, it's depending on the environment and the industry of your startup. Of course, if you are, for example, a software or as a SaaS, for example, could be a good insight. I mean, I would say that if you want to put everything, just use that space for that. But what we want to know in that part about the traction is what is the commercial validation and the track record of commercial validation of your startup. That means if your user is going to be, for example, pay a fee, for example, in the future, is going to, for example, I don't know, or it's going to make, for example, a network where you'll be able, for example, to sell any kind of services to companies. I don't know, depending on the situation. It will be awesome to know what a kind of commercial validation your startup has had during the last years or in the last time. So in a nutshell, of course, it's depending on what's the value of the value proposition of your startup. But if you want, you can put all over the table, I would say, in the traction.
Manuel says, do you have a preference with applications in English? Manuel, you can do your application in Spanish or in English. The important part is that it's all in English or everything is in Spanish. Okay, so your videos in Spanish, the whole thing is in Spanish. Because we have evaluators that, so it's kind of to have a more controlled thing. And no, that I think the answer is no. We don't have a preference. The program is in English, so you should have at least some notion of it. But yeah, it's not exclusive for English speakers. Yeah, I don't know if you want to say something else, but
I mean, it's not exclusive for English spoken or English native person. Only for English native person, but you will have to make some activities in English. For example, when you present at the end of the program and at the picture, you will present in English. So bear in mind that that you're going to speak in English sometimes. Not all the whole activities, but in some activities, it's important to speak in English.
Javiera says, hi, sorry, but I can see only the English transmission. Javiera, the same webinar will be at 4 p.m. in Spanish, so you can watch it there. Javiera. Alexander says, I'm co-owner of a startup with annual sales around 1 million. Also, company has 2 more co-owners. We decided together with partners that if we are, so this is very specific, Alexander, but well, we decided together with partners that if we are selected for Startup Chile, I can open a new company owning, oh my God, 100% capital that will be operated in Western Hemisphere only. Also has the right to use, well, let me read it. To use current startup tech side. What kind of program should I apply? Build or Ignite? So he has sales of around 1 million. That's a little bit. Or growth. He says or growth.
That is a really interesting, a long question, but in a nutshell, I mean, there are specific requirements for each program. First of all, for the build program, you must have less than 1 year of commercial development. Okay, that is the first part. So, for example, if you are having or you are starting to create or develop your technology, I don't know, in the biotech industry, for example, that is composed of a lot. You are investing, for example, that you already invest too much resources in R&D processes, for example. We're going to consider when did you start to sell your product or to test your product with their final user or client, for example. So in that case, build, you must have less than 1 year of commercial development. In the Ignite program, you must have an MVP or less than 3 years of commercial development. And in the growth programs, it's not regarding the age of the startup, is according the sales in the last 12 months of the startups, accumulated sales. This must be more than $100,000 and less than $1 million. So if you can apply to the 3 of them, if you have all the requirements to apply the 3, you can apply to the 3 program. You can use one application form in this application process in order to apply to the different programs that we have, and that's it. I mean, it's important that you can accomplish all the requirements.
Yes, and also this goes for everyone. So if you have a very specific question like that one, we have an email where we are answering your more specific questions, which is hello@startupchile.org. Okay, so Charlie has allowed application in the form of foreign company, and it even accepted our certificate of incorporation of our Indian company. Should we change it? please?
In fact, you can include the information of your company, but that company is not going to be considered, this is very technical, but it's not going to be considered the beneficiary of the funds, okay? And that's very, very important, okay? Remember that there are two sections of this form where you have to include the name of also of the co-founders and the team leader, and who is going to be like the beneficiary of this money that you are going to receive through Startup Chile. And this is very, very important, okay? But because talking in the future about the future in the evaluations of the financial and the documents, we are going to check the documents of expenses made by this person, okay, by the team leader in this case, the beneficiary of the funds. And if you have a Chilean company that is accepted by Startup Chile in the future, this is very technical, okay, but we can accept that, okay. As soon as you are selected, you can evaluate that alternative as a foreign team leader, okay. But if you have applied as a Chilean company and you accomplish all the requirements, yeah, you can start making expenses as a Chilean company, okay? It's technical, it's a bit hard to understand, maybe, but yeah, as Amparo said, you can send us an email to hello@startupchile.org and we can give you more information about this, okay?
It's perfect though that it's technical. This is what this webinar is for. So that's perfect. Thank you, Chris. And Jasur asked kind of the same question. So he has the application form doesn't let you have any incorporated company outside of Chile. That's exactly what Chris just said. So yeah, have that in mind. Antonio says, I applied before with another idea, another company. Now I'm applying with a new idea and a new company. Should that would that count as reapplying? That's very interesting, Sergio.
Yes, we've been talking with also with Amparo about this kind of question. I mean, it's not a reapplication. I mean, you can apply as much as you can to start as much as you want to start up Chile, but if you formalize before the application process another another startup Chile farm, for example, TSF. Our X program call it seed, for example, scale. You probably will have some problems or issues regarding to own or win another fund with Startup Chile nowadays. So I mean, this is in this case is not considered a reapplication, yeah. But because you are starting a new idea, if you not won in the past another Startup Chile fund, that is okay. You can apply as many ideas if you want in different application process of Startup Chile. But in the case that you want another core Startup Chile fund, you probably have some issues, for example, in order to apply to different programs of Startup Chile. In the terms and conditions, you will see the funds that are that make you exclude to apply to different kind of funds of Startup Chile. So read them and know if you can or cannot apply to build, ignite, and grow.
Yes, Alexander says, those co-founders, not the leader, should they be involved in the startup in 100% as the leader, or could partially work on other projects? Yes, Alexander. So the 100% thing, which is like that they have to be 100% invested in the company, that goes for the team leader. There's many activities we have, and we expect him or her to be very involved in them. Also, like
yes.
be involved with your startup.
Yes, I want to make a little comment over there.
Go ahead.
It's not necessary to have as a full-time job dedicated to the startup when you apply to Startup Chile, because you will receive the result in July, and also the program will start in August. You must have a full-time dedication to the startup at the beginning of the program. It's not necessary to start or to have nowadays or right now a full dedication to the startup, to your startup.
Perfect. So about the travel and living expenses of the team leader and team members who will travel to Chile for the program. Is it covered by the program separately from the allocated grant amount? This is for you, Chris.
No. All these expenses are included in the budget that you are going to present in the future. Our expenses are
Chris, I think your microphone or your audio is kind of.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
Now we can. Yeah.
Hello?
Oh, no, I can hear you. It's just it sounds a little bit weird, but now I can. You're fine.
Yeah. Okay.
You're
Let
fine.
me know if it's.
I will.
Back. Okay. So again, the living costs and your salary, for example, are expenses that are part of your expenses of the budget. Okay, so are part of the grant. Okay, and that's very, very important to keep in mind for the plan in the future.
Perfect. Gabriel says, I am filling the form and it asks about languages. Do we get extra points if we do speak more languages besides Spanish and English? No, we don't. I'm sorry. It should be kind of a minimum to speak English because the program is in English, but yeah, that's it. Antonio says, what do you consider commercial development? Thank
you. I mean, commercial development is when you start to test your product with your final user or client. For example, when you start to have a I/B testing, for example, when you start to make some pilot with your company or free pilot with companies, in order to when you have an MVP or a prototype, in order to start to validate that a business model or value proposition with your final customer. That is what we consider as a commercial development, or when you start a commercial development. It's not necessarily about sales. It's about when you start to test your product with your final user or client.
We have a question from Andre. They say, my foreign passport will expire in July. I have already applied for a new one, but it isn't ready. It will be ready later. Can I use it in the application for my current passport, please?
Yes, you can use it. Hopefully that is going to be solved at the moment that if you are selected for the interviews and that moment, and at the beginning of the program, if that is solved, it's going to be perfect, okay? But the idea is to keep it like, keep us updated about the progress on this.
Okay, so we have a couple more minutes to answer. So if you have your questions, leave them there. It's now or never, okay? At 4 p.m. we will be back with the same webinar in Spanish though. So if you speak Spanish, that's great for you. Asan says, our Indian company is running since 2014 as a traditional sourcing, export, and supply chain solutions provider. We pivoted in 2020. So it also asks how much R&D time has been spent. Can you please elaborate? I don't know what the question is, but can they apply if they pivoted in 2020?
I mean, that is another interesting question, because sometimes some consulting companies have some spin-off, or they're probably into a different model. It's depending of which company do you use to apply to Startup Chile. For example, if I'm going to make an example, I have in a consulting company, and right now we are developing a new technology. For example, a software for that have a B2B model. I don't know. And if we cannot apply if we apply with the consulting company that we have nowadays. However, you can apply if you made a spin-off and you made another company of this software specifically. So if that is the case, you can apply to Startup Chile. And we will consider the age of that solution when you start to make some commercial validation. So it's depending on this the aim of the company. If you are considering the company that is founded in 2014, or if this is a new company that is focused on this technology that we founded in 2020.
Yes, we have the last two questions before we have to finish this. Iman says, shall the team leader know English very well? And this is something that a lot of people ask. You should know English because you will be doing the program in English. So your pitch will be in English, your introduction will be in English, it's kind of everything will be in English. But it's like, I mean, you can join us too if you don't know it that well. But it's very encouraged. Okay, you can start practicing from now. Javiera says, is the team leader considered with a monthly salary among expenses? And yes, you can do. Go ahead, Chris. You can do whatever you want with your money.
Yeah. The salary is yours and it's your personal funds. You can pay like the rent and all those things. But yeah, it's important to keep in mind that the salary of the team leader and also for the team members, remember there is a difference in the form. You can select who is going to be coming with you to Chile. That people have the benefit of a salary here in Chile, okay? And yeah, that's your money.
Yes, and for the last question of the night, before we end this, and just so, and this is a very good question. If a team leader comes with a spouse to Chile, does the program help with the visa?
Yes. You must let us know who is coming with you, and we can help you on that. Okay. Yeah.
That also comes for children and everything, right? Yes. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much to everyone who joined. I hope you send your applications soon because it takes time, but please send them with time. Maybe the day before we finish or something. And the last day is May 3rd, and that's at I think 1 p.m. Sergio? 1 p.m.
Yes, 1 p.m.
Chilean time.
Chilean time.
Yes,
yeah.
and that's GMT -4. Okay, so thank you, Cristobal. Thank you, Sergio, for being here answering all the entrepreneurs' questions, and we will see you guys very soon.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.